Hi everyone. So this is going to be a lesson for, I'm using the song The Girl by City and Colour as an example. So we'll kind of be learning that song as well, but the focus is to focus on what I'm doing with this hand. It's a sort of claw, hybrid pick strum sort of thing that I'm doing. It's something that I've been doing for quite a while, and I've always had trouble kind of trying to explain it to people. So I'm going to try and do that in this video. At least sort of like a very simplified and basic version. Because when I'm maybe playing something, I'm kind of doing something a little, I'm kind of doing something a little bit more, I kind of messed up a couple times there, but you know, I'm kind of doing something a little bit more with more picking and stuff like that, but I thought I'd kind of break it down to sort of its skeleton form. And hopefully this pans out. So first of all, let's just kind of get our chords down. So the chords for The Girl are, we've got this G, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the pinky and I'm going to put it, I'm going to leave that high E open, and I'm going to put my pinky on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. So I've got that sort of thing going on. And then I'm just going to, and then I'm going to do just an E minor 7. Right, so I just got my normal E minor, and then I keep that pinky there on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And then I do a C, basic C, C major, and then instead of like doing like a D, I do this, what I do is I take that C and I shift it up 2. And it gives this weird sort of D chord that I don't quite know what it is. For the longest time I've just called it like the City and Colour chord, because he uses it in like Dallas Green uses it in a lot of songs. He uses it in like Coming Home, like so he does it in that song. Does he do it elsewhere? Probably, but in The Girl he uses it. So and it's a cool sounding chord, so we're gonna keep it. So now that we got our chords down, cool, let's just kind of go to G. So we got our chords. Now it's this hand that's going to be kind of the focus here. So what am I doing there? What am I doing there? So essentially what I'm doing, sort of the basics of it, is first of all, I'm starting off with my thumb, I'm hitting my bass note of my chord. So because I'm playing a G thing with, you know, I think that's a, I'd have to like kind of analyze it. It's some sort of G. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to hit with my thumb the bass note, which is a G. Good. We're 25% of the way there. Thumbs up. So, now what I'm going to do, so then the next step, step 2, is I'm going to use my index. And what I'm going to do is usually I'm kind of like, I'm not being too specific with what I'm playing. I'm kind of just feeling it out and playing some notes and kind of letting it ring out and randomize a bit and, you know, sound kind of melodic or whatever. But what I'm doing, I'm probably going to, with my index, I'm going to either hit probably like the 4th or the 3rd string for this G note, or I'm going something like that. I kind of randomize it, right? I'm not being, that's one thing about this sort of thing that I'm doing here, this sort of hybrid picking, strumming, slap sort of thing, is it's actually very flexible. It's very loose. Like, I don't want to say sloppy. Sloppy is not the right word, right? But maybe it is sloppy. I don't know. But it doesn't have like a strict structure, right? It's kind of meant to be played around with and to have fun with it, right? And kind of just pick around and play around and see what sounds good. So so I do that bass, and then I kind of pluck my index maybe somewhere around here, and then this is probably this is the trickiest part. This is the trickiest part of the whole thing. It's this sort of strum slap sort of thing that I'm doing. This is the part that I have a lot of trouble explaining. So what I'm kind of doing, first of all, I'm not like this. I'm keeping my hand like this, and I'm using my nails there. And what I'm doing is I'm either with this part of my hand here, I'm either tapping right here, so on this part of the guitar, or I sometimes actually tap right here as well. And when I'm doing that, I'm actually probably hitting more like with this part of the hand, right here, if I'm tapping here, or if I'm here, I'm hitting with this part of the hand. And sort of at the same time, because my fingers are kind of crunched up like this, I kind of strum at the same time. And I'm being kind of a little bit, maybe the word is sloppy, with my strumming. And so I'm also kind of getting, because I think you're getting two things. One, you're getting the beat of that, but then I'm not doing a clean strum. I'm kind of doing this sort of really choppy sort of strum. And when I do that, I also get the sound of kind of the strings going like that as well. So, and when I put the two together, it kind of gives this rhythmic sort of percussive sort of sound. So far we got. And that's something I think the best way is just play around with it, kind of what feels good, and you could even start maybe not by doing the tap, maybe just do the strum first, just to kind of play around with that, and then as you get more comfortable, you can kind of start adding in the slap, or the tap there. But that's up to you. Like I said, I've kind of had a lot of trouble explaining this to people, so I'm hoping this is kind of as clear as I've kind of been able to sort of formulate it for students and that I've tried to teach this to, and I guess now in this video. So play around with it, try it out, and and if you have a better way of explaining it, let me know. But then what you're going to do is you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then for the 4, either usually with my middle or my ring finger, or I usually grab one of the higher notes. So maybe like the second or the first string. And I grab one of those high notes on the 4th. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's essentially what I'm doing. And then what I'm doing is I'm applying that to all of my chords. So for the E minor 7, my E note is my bass. So my C, now my thumb is going to go on the 5th string. And then you slide up to that D thing. Again, my bass is now here, right? Because that's my D. That sounds really cool. And then back to your G. And you can kind of play the whole, that's kind of like a simple picking-ish version of the girl. I say simple, like quote unquote, it's not that simple, but so then you can play the whole song essentially, like, Cool. Obviously the main focus was this hand, but since we're here, might as well also do, that's pretty much like the whole thing, but then there's sort of that like sing-along sort of part at the end, and all you do there is instead of starting kind of like on your G, you're going to start in your E minor 7. So you kind of go. Doing that, so it's like E minor 7, C, weird D thing, G, E minor 7, C, and then hold the weird D thing for 2. If you want to keep it going, back to E minor 7. And then if you want to head back to the normal verse thing, just go back to G. And that's pretty much it. Like, and that's minus, like, I realize in the song he does these sort of, kind of does these little walk downs and things like that. That's just kind of like expanding on what I just taught you. Instead of just going, you're just going, doing stuff like that. You're kind of like modifying the technique. But that's the basics of it. And that's sort of the purpose of this video, is just to kind of get that initial strumming pattern sort of down. And one thing that is also cool is you can kind of play around with this and add it to sort of mix it with different sort of strumming patterns. So like an example that I'll give, let's say we're on our C here. I know the song Landslide goes like this. So if you've watched a previous video on my Landslide video, way back in the day, where the strumming pattern is like that, you can kind of mix it up. You can go, so you start off with the sort of claw thing, and then you can kind of do the landslide thing, which is just like if I was playing on a C, it would just be my bass note, and then middle finger, index, ring finger. Kind of do some stuff like that. You can mix some things up and have some fun. So those are just some ideas to kind of give you, and I think that about wraps it up. So I think I'll leave it at that. Happy playing. See you next time. Bye.